You can eat perfectly clean, cut out red meat, avoid butter, skip eggs, follow every heart-healthy rule you've been told, and your cholesterol can still keep rising. That's the part no one explains, because the real source of your cholesterol isn't sitting on your plate. Right now, as you watch this, your body is already making it. In fact, most of the cholesterol in your bloodstream is being produced internally, not consumed. And the most dangerous surge doesn't happen when you eat, it happens later, in the dark, while you're asleep. This isn't a theory. It's basic human biology, which means if you've been trying to fix your cholesterol by only changing your diet, you may have been
Take one of
targeting the
these
wrong
twice a day
problem
with
the
food.
entire time. And if you don't understand this
I'm
mechanism,
sorry, doctor. I don't understand
you
what
could
this is
spend
for.
years doing everything right and still end up worse than where you started. Here's the part that changes everything. Roughly 75% of the cholesterol in your body is not coming from the food you eat. It is produced internally, primarily by your liver, every single day. That means even if you completely eliminate cholesterol from your diet, at best, you are only influencing a small fraction of the total. The majority is still being made inside you, on a schedule your body controls, not your plate. And yet, most people are never told this. They leave their doctor's office believing that if they just eat better, everything will fix itself. So they cut out foods, they restrict, they follow the rules, and then 3 months later, the numbers barely move. Not because they failed, but because no one ever showed them where most of the problem actually comes from. I've seen this pattern repeat for years. A patient walks into my office, holding a lab report, worried but hopeful. They've already tried to change their diet, maybe even lost weight, expecting improvement. Instead, they're handed a prescription, usually a statin, with little explanation beyond your cholesterol is high. They nod because they trust the system, but you can see it in their face. They don't understand what went wrong. They did what they were told. They followed the rules, and now they're being asked to take a medication for the rest of their life, without ever being shown what actually caused the problem in the first place. Cholesterol is not the enemy.
VTach,
That's
he's
the
crashing.
first idea you
Charge
need
the
to let go
defib.
of if you want to
Charging.
understand what's
Everybody
really
clear.
happening inside your body. Cholesterol is not a toxin, not a mistake, not something your body accidentally produces. It is essential for life. Every cell membrane in your body depends on it for structure and stability. Your hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, are built from it. Your body uses it to produce vitamin D and to create bile acids that allow you to digest fat. Remove cholesterol entirely.
These figures
system
here
doesn't
suggest
improve, it
early-stage
collapses.
rheumatoid arthritis.
The problem has never been
It's
cholesterol
serious,
itself.
but
The
manageable
problem
if we
begins
start
when the
treatment
system that
immediately.
regulates it becomes overloaded, misdirected, or out of balance. Over the past 15 years working as a general practitioner, I've watched this misunderstanding play out again and again. Patients come in convinced that cholesterol is something to eliminate, something dangerous by default. And every week, I have to explain the same thing. The body is not working against you. It's trying to maintain balance. But when that balance is disrupted, the same substance that keeps you alive can start to create long-term damage. Understanding that difference is where real control begins. To understand where things start to go wrong, you need to look at where cholesterol actually comes from. Only about 20 to 25% of the cholesterol in your body comes from the food you eat, mainly from animal-based products like meat, dairy, and eggs. The remaining 75% is produced internally, with your liver acting as the central control system. This isn't a backup mechanism, it's the primary source. Your body doesn't rely on diet to supply cholesterol because it cannot afford to. It needs a stable, continuous supply to maintain cell structure, hormone production, and metabolic function. So the liver produces it on demand, adjusting output based on signals it receives from the rest of your body. That means when your cholesterol is elevated, the root of the issue is often not what you're eating, but how your internal regulation system is behaving. If you focus only on diet, you're addressing a small piece of a much larger process that is happening out of sight every single day. Inside your liver cells, there is a specific enzyme that acts as a master switch for cholesterol production. It's called HMG-CoA reductase, and its job is to drive the chemical process that turns basic building blocks into cholesterol molecules. This enzyme is not constantly active at the same level. It follows a rhythm. Its activity rises and falls depending on signals like energy status and hormonal changes. What matters most is when it peaks. The highest level of activity occurs at night, typically between midnight and the early morning hours. While you are asleep, your liver is working at its most productive state, manufacturing cholesterol at a higher rate than at any other time of day. This is a controlled, natural process, but it also means that whatever influences this enzyme during those hours has a disproportionate impact on your overall cholesterol levels. Now, this is where the mechanism becomes personal, because the next factor is something you directly control, often without realizing it. Every time you eat, your body releases insulin. It doesn't matter if it's a large meal or something small, sweet or savory, insulin rises in response to the act of eating itself. And insulin does more than regulate blood sugar. It directly activates HMG-CoA reductase, the very enzyme responsible for cholesterol production in the liver. This means that when you eat later in the evening, especially close to the time your body is preparing for its natural overnight cycle, you are sending a signal that pushes that enzyme into a higher state of activity. The timing matters. When insulin is elevated during the same window that your liver is already primed to produce cholesterol, the effect is amplified. You're not just producing cholesterol, you're accelerating the system at its most sensitive point. This is why someone can eat what appears to be a healthy meal at night, something light, something they believe is harmless, and still be increasing their cholesterol production without ever seeing it happen. It's not about the fat content of that meal. It's about the hormonal signal it creates at the wrong time. Now reverse that situation, and the outcome changes completely. When you stop eating earlier in the evening and allow your body to enter a true fasting state overnight, insulin levels begin to fall and stay low. And when insulin stays low, another system takes over. An enzyme called AMP-activated protein kinase, or AMPK, becomes active. This enzyme acts like an internal regulator that senses when energy is limited and shifts your body into a conservation mode. One of its key effects is that it suppresses the activity of HMG-CoA reductase. In simple terms, it applies a brake to cholesterol production. Your liver slows down its output, not because of a drug or an external intervention, but because the internal conditions signal that it should. This is a natural built-in mechanism, and it only works when you give your body the time and space to activate it. By not eating late at night, you're not just reducing calories. You're changing the biochemical environment that determines how much cholesterol your body produces while you sleep. To understand why this matters, you need to see how cholesterol actually moves through your body. Cholesterol cannot travel freely in your bloodstream because it doesn't dissolve in water. So your body packages it into particles called lipoproteins. The two main types are LDL and HDL. LDL carries cholesterol from the liver out to your tissues, delivering it where it's needed. HDL does the opposite. It collects excess cholesterol and brings it back to the liver for processing and removal. On their own, both are essential. The problem begins when there is too much LDL circulating and not enough demand from your cells. Imagine a highway system where delivery trucks keep entering the road, but the exits are full. The trucks have nowhere to go, so they stay in circulation, building up, slowing everything down. That's what excess LDL does. It lingers in your bloodstream, increasing the chance that it will move into places it shouldn't. Over time, those excess particles begin to penetrate the inner lining of your arteries. Your body treats this as damage and starts a repair response, layering cholesterol, fat, and eventually calcium into the vessel wall. This is how atherosclerotic plaque forms. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't cause pain in the early stages. It builds silently, year after year, narrowing the artery and reducing blood flow. The first real sign for many people is not a warning, it's an event. A heart attack, a stroke, something sudden, life-altering, or even fatal. That is why understanding and controlling this process early is not optional. It's the difference between managing your health now or facing consequences later that cannot be reversed. There is one important exception that needs to be acknowledged, because not every case follows the same pattern. A small percentage of people have a genetic condition called familial hypercholesterolemia, where the receptors that normally remove LDL from the bloodstream do not function properly. In these cases, cholesterol levels remain high regardless of diet or lifestyle, and medical treatment is often necessary. This is not a failure of discipline or understanding, it is a difference in biology. Recognizing this matters, because it keeps the conversation honest and prevents the false idea that one approach works for everyone. But for the vast majority of people, the situation is different. The system is not broken, it is being pushed in the wrong direction, and that means it can be guided back. What follows is not a quick fix or a temporary solution, but a set of changes that align with how your body is already designed to function. These are practical steps that target the underlying mechanisms we've just discussed, giving you a way to influence cholesterol production and movement at its source, rather than just reacting to the numbers after the fact. The first step is to control when you eat, not just what you eat. Stop eating by 6 or 7 in the evening and allow your body to enter a true overnight fast. This is one of the simplest changes, but it directly affects insulin levels and the timing of cholesterol production. You are not depriving yourself. You are restoring a rhythm your body already expects. The second step is to bring your total energy intake under control. If you consistently consume more calories than you burn, insulin remains elevated throughout the day and into the night, continuously signaling your liver to keep producing cholesterol. No supplement or dietary tweak can override that signal. The third step is to increase your intake of soluble fiber, especially forms like psyllium husk. When it reaches your digestive system, it forms a gel-like substance that binds bile acids and removes them from your body. This forces your liver to pull more LDL out of circulation to replace what was lost, lowering your overall levels in a natural and measurable way. The fourth step is to incorporate omega-3 fatty acids on a consistent basis, either through fatty fish or high-quality supplementation. These fats influence the same enzyme involved in cholesterol production, helping to reduce its activity over time. The effect is gradual, but it is real and supported by clinical evidence. The fifth step is regular aerobic movement. This is not about intense training or extreme effort. Even moderate activity, done consistently, raises HDL levels and improves your body's ability to clear excess cholesterol from the bloodstream. The sixth step is to remove the most harmful dietary triggers, particularly industrial trans fats and heavily processed foods. These do more damage to your cholesterol profile than most natural sources of fat ever will. The seventh step is to look at your habits as a system. If one part is working against another, progress slows or stops. When all of these elements align timing, intake, movement, and quality, you create conditions where your body can regulate itself effectively instead of constantly compensating. If this changed the way you see your own body, don't ignore it. Most people never hear this explained clearly, and by the time they do, the damage is already done. Subscribe if you want real practical answers that help you understand and take control of your health, not just manage it. This isn't about fear. It's about finally knowing what's actually happening inside you.